Hello, everybody. Welcome to another 5-Minute Fridays. This is Dean Bostedor from CDH, and today I'll be covering Azure Active Directory. This is part of our cybersecurity series. So I thought it'd be good to go over identity management and how to secure some of your identities in Microsoft's cloud. So most IT staff, if you have Microsoft Office 365, you're familiar with this admin center here. Typically, people will go in and look at their user accounts, and I've seen a lot of people just kind of assume that the accounts are all just managed from here, when in reality, these accounts are actually getting pulled in and displayed here from Azure Active Directory. So you can access that in Admin Center down here and just go to Azure Active Directory. That'll open up a new tab, and if you're logged in already, it should just automatically log you in and load the page here. So a little bit about Azure Active Directory. People hear Active Directory and immediately think, the servers that they have on premises. That's where you typically would manage your on-prem user accounts, your group policies, some of your security, DNS, and some other things. Azure Active Directory is similar in that you have user accounts, you can make groups and things like that, but it's different in that this is a service. There's servers on the back end, but you do not have access to those. And also the tools that you're used to using to manage the accounts don't actually work in Azure Active Directory. You manage the accounts through your browser. So when you come into here, you'll see where you can manage your users and your groups. And some of these properties, I'll just pick this user account, will look similar. So you have their identity information, job info, settings, contact info. Many of these you can actually have a sync so that your user accounts get populated into Azure Active Directory from your on-premises, and a lot of these attributes will come directly from your on-premises, and that's known as a hybrid Active Directory. But these users here in this demo environment, these are all cloud-only accounts. So, but just like Active Directory on premises, you can add them to groups. There's also, let me get in here. There's also roles, and any Exchange admins or SharePoint admins will know about roles. These are permissions that you can assign to groups or users, which grant you access to different parts of Office 365. And so you've got Dynamics, Exchange, SharePoint, really any of the Microsoft software that is in the cloud. It's going to be using Azure Active Directory as its identity manager in the back end. So it's very similar when you think about your on-premises. You're used to having your Active Directory server or servers, and then you have your Exchange server or your SharePoint server. All those things are using Active Directory as the identity management platform, and then you use those accounts to secure things. So it's very similar in that regard, but this is all cloud-based. Another thing you may be familiar with is creating Active Directory trust to different organizations, so you can authenticate across organizations or different servers across organizations. You don't have that ability with Azure Active Directory, but what you are able to do is you can basically it's called identity sharing, or I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but it's very similar to a trust. But basically, you can take two Azure Active Directory tenants and sort of build that relationship so that you can do cross authentication between tenants for some services, and it's not all. Also, there's the ability to use OAuth or SAML or some other industry standard authentication protocols so that you can authenticate to third-party applications like Dropbox, or there's some others out there, any of them that really use OAuth or SAML. So that's all built in. Some of the security is built in here too. So you have conditional access, where you can start to set policies and say that certain users can't log in unless they meet basic policy requirements, such as they need to be coming from certain IP subnets, or maybe they need to have multi-factor authentication enabled, or they need to be logging in from different devices. So this is the conditional access area. You can start to make your trusted locations and set policies based on that. And then there's an MF server or MFA server that you can deploy that's sort of a hybrid, so that you can get your Azure AD MFA on-prem as well as in the cloud. There's alerts, risky sign-ins. Those types of features will show you if you have an account that maybe logged in, from Michigan or something like that, and then 10 minutes later they're logging in from China. That's kind of an impossible scenario for someone to physically be able to do. So you can set alerts to your admin staff to get alerted for those things, or just block them outright. So yeah, this is the back end where all of that sort of magic happens, and all of the DLP policies or conditional access or Intune, any of the Microsoft technologies, they're all going to use Azure Active Directory as the identity management platform. So I just wanted to give an overview of that for Cybersecurity Month. So thank you.